Welcome to the Third Generation Wrestling Podcast with your hosts, Eric and Rob.
Well, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Third Generation Wrestling Podcast here on Sunday night. I still wish they would do these on Saturday, but here we are. AEW not Dynamite, Double or Nothing.
Long night.
Man, these shows, they only have them every 4 months or so it's okay. Double or Nothing 2021. I'm your host, the Real Big E. My co-host, Rob, the Ambassador. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing good this evening. I'm hanging in there. It was a long night, not as long as some other pay-per-views have been. We won't talk about. We're doing a different company tonight, but look, it was long, but I thought it was enjoyable. We'll talk more about it.
All right. And of course, when it comes to AEW, we're always joined by a special guest, MJ Book, the host of the Countdown Podcast 2020. How are you feeling this evening?
Feeling pretty good. This was a card I was so hyped for. This was a card that had everything to be card of the year. I was so hyped for tonight. So this is going to be exciting. This will be a fun show.
Yeah. It's been quite the journey, I guess, to say, with AEW lately.
Well, that's just the ends.
with endings. But we'll talk about the show tonight. This was still at Daly's place, but like Rob and myself talked about earlier, we did a prediction show strictly for YouTube. So if you were a podcast listener, make sure you check out that video on our YouTube. That it was a full crowd in there tonight, and you could tell the difference between a partial crowd and a full crowd. And that really, really made the difference. I could tell it made the difference, not only just in the environment, and hearing the chants and hearing that sound, but I felt like the wrestlers got up for every single match. At least the effort was there for every match because of that. And they realized the importance of this, because I understand something. Since the pandemic, this is the very first wrestling show with a full attendance. So they beat WWE, they beat Impact, they beat Ring of Honor to the punch. So this had to go well, you know. So
It's good to see.
Yeah,
It just added to the show.
And you know what? I like that they were at Daly's place. Something about it being outside, especially in the beginning, added something to it, in my opinion. So,
It reminded me of WrestleMania when they were in 49ers Stadium.
mm-hmm.
32.
Yeah.
Santa Clara.
It reminded me of that. It had that kind of, it just seemed like a special crowd. And
It was.
thank goodness they were there.
Oh yeah. Well, not to wait any longer, let's get into the buy-in, which was featuring Serena Deeb versus Riho, who we hadn't seen in a long time. They talked about it during the match that she actually moved to Florida now, so she is a resident of the United States. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but
Hey, something she wanted. So congratulations.
This, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. As far as buy-in matches, as far as AEW is concerned, this was the best buy-in match I've ever seen that they've ever put on. This was fantastic. This deserved to be on the main show. I can understand why it wasn't, because it just wasn't the room. If I would have swapped this match for another match, easy, and I'll get to it when we get there.
I think I know what it is.
But Serena Deeb, I've been a fan of hers since she was with the Straight Edge Society. And to see how far she's come from being just somebody with a shaved head and following CM Punk to being this outstanding ring general that can, turn a crowd on a dime and put on a fantastic match. I mean, that just says a lot about her ring acumen, her ring knowledge. I thought that even Riho, the crowd was split. This was the first match, so they were going to get a lot of fan interaction either way. This was the first thing they were getting. I just didn't think the crowd would be this into it. I mean, they were into this match. Uh, I was getting pissed because I had to switch devices in between this match because my Fire Stick went out. But luckily for me, I have an Xbox in the same room, so I just switched to the Xbox, and the match was still going. So thank God for that. Um, the near falls toward the end. Uh, I was biting on them already. I think the crowd had something to do with it too. Just the noise, the chants, and but in the end of the day, I mean, I knew Serena D was gonna retain. She did win with the by submission, and like I said, this was the best buy-in match I've ever seen, and I'm gonna give this a strong B plus. Um, I hope eventually, once Serena's done with NWA, that she makes her way to AEW because their women's division could needs her like no other, and hopefully Riho can. Well, I'm sure she'll be on TV more often now that she's here. So, Rob, what'd you think?
You know, first of all, this being the first match, you mentioned how we had a full crowd. And I mean, it was this what I had problems with this whole night is to try to make sure that the grades I gave these matches were based on the matches themselves and not on the fact that man, you had this full crowd so into these matches. This was
Mm-hmm.
a case where look, it was the first match, crowd was really into it, but deservedly so. Now, I gave the match a B minus. Now, that's not a bad grade. I just felt like there were a couple of sloppy moments, maybe a few sloppy moments, nothing that was really egregious. Just a couple of things they tried, a couple of moves that just didn't work out so well. That happens. Riho, as we said, hadn't been around in a while. Maybe she's a little rusty. Look, they're leading off this card with this full stadium of people. Maybe the adrenaline was going really hard. The match though was a solid match, but because there were just those few sloppy moments, I gave it a B minus. But that's not saying it was a bad match. It was a good match. Just I wouldn't say it was a great match. I still enjoyed it. Just great to have a match with a full stadium of people behind the participants.
I definitely agree with Rob as far as that crowd. It was just so good to see a full packed house. However, it being a smaller house, who cares? It was a packed house, and it just added to it. Maybe the crowd chanted a few things just because they were excited just to be together as well. Um, as far as this match, I gave it a C plus. Riho was sloppy at times. There were some moments that she was really sloppy, and I don't know what it is about Rio. She's really light, but she moves so heavy. I've eh, I've noticed this about her constantly. You would think she's able to be light on her feet, but she moves around like she's like 400 pounds. Uh,
Oh my
it,
god.
it's rough at times seeing her move, and I don't know why she's that way. She shouldn't be that way. Maybe she's just not comfortable getting air. I don't know what it is, but she just moves so heavy, and it drives me nuts. Serena definitely was the star of this match, and had it not been for Serena, this could have gotten a D because Rio just pissed me off with how sloppy she was being. But it's a C plus, so it's a high middle of the road. Um, Thank you, Serena and Rio. I'm just gonna say that maybe she just It was just some ring rust, but and because this was a little sloppy. C plus.
All right. I thought they put it in work. So I was good with it. And I'm proud to say I didn't have it. Normally I start these pay-per-views with a cocktail. I didn't have a cocktail. I didn't start drinking until halfway through. So that's just saying that I didn't need anything extra to be entertained till halfway
Hey, you,
through.
the listeners know how I feel about the AEW women's division.
Yeah,
So a C
a
plus,
C
that's a
plus. Yeah,
compliment. It is a
yeah.
compliment
So we
instead of the Fs I usually give them.
Yeah, I don't need anything extra to be entertained either. I just do it just because.
Oh no, I don't need it. I just waited also because early I drink, early I get sleepy. So I wanted to be,
Oh,
lively. So
I got you.
No alcohol induced grading.
right. All right. Show kicks off. Hangman Adam Page versus Brian Cage. Gonna try not to mess this up because their names rhyme. Okay. This was some true cowboy shit. The crowd was wide awake for this, even after, to me, a great women's match. There's something to be said about a big guy that looks like a traditional old school wrestler, just a big guy that does big guy moves. Moves it's stiff, but isn't. Brian Cage is the furthest thing from stiff. He is extremely athletic for a guy his size. Stuff he's doing in this match, I'm just like, there's no way. Oh my god. And his cardio, I know Taz talked about his cardio, but I could tell. I mean, he's working a long. This is a longer match for a big guy, and he doesn't look gassed whatsoever. Um, but I also was impressed with Hangman Page with some of the moves. I mean, that moonsault on the outside to Cage, he countered that power bomb into a Hurricane Rana, and then Brian Cage with that nasty vertical suplex from inside the ring to outside to the ramp. And then one of my favorite parts of the match was when Brian Cage was on the outside going for the buckshot lariat, trying to steal it. Got caught with an F5 by Page. And then Brian Cage hit a impressive series of power bombs, like all different type of variations of power bombs. And then here come the Stooges to fuck it up. Ricky Starks coming out, and Brian Cage made it very clear on Dynamite, I don't want any help. I got this. And the truth be told, he had Hangman beat. It was taking longer than probably he wanted. And of course, the distraction, buckshot lariat, Hangman wins. I'm not mad Hangman wins. I like Hangman Page. Love the cowboy shit. I just don't like the trope. You know what I mean? If you've watched enough wrestling, once you see Ricky Starks and the other idiot come down, you know what's about to happen. And that's the only thing that really hurt this. But I so enjoyed this match. And Rob, I know what you just said, and I was trying my best to just let me stay in the match. Let me not let this crowd participation get to me. But maybe it did. I don't know. I really, really enjoyed the match. I gave it A minus.
I knew it.
I, I like both guys, but to me, it just says a whole lot about Brian Cage that he's not just a lump of clay that can only do 3 moves and can only go 5 minutes. The guy can go. The guy can move, and I don't know. I really, really enjoyed it. I really did. I was worried about this match. They delivered, in my opinion. So, uh, Book, you are up, sir.
Before I start with the match, I've got to start out with this. What the fuck was Brian Cage wearing when he got to the ring? Did you see what he was wearing, or did you miss that part?
Oh, I didn't miss it.
What on earth was that? It reminded me of No Holds Barred Zeus outfit, but the Zeus outfit was better.
No, I thought of Triple H Terminator.
That was better.
Well, when you got Arnold
I hope
Schwarzenegger on the
Brian never
Titantron,
wears that. I hope he never wears that again.
he's the machine.
He doesn't need to wear that. It was bad. It was horrible.
I'm not
So,
saying it was great costuming, okay? All I'm saying is he's the machine.
I
But
get
he
it, but
came
he
out
doesn't
dressed
need
as
to
a
wear
machine.
No, I understand why he wore it.
Get a better one.
I just don't know
okay.
who the tailor was.
Yeah, the thing was bad. It looked
Because
like
they didn't earn their money.
Yeah, it looked like I got it from a corner store or something. It was just bad. but
Well,
I'll move on from that. But I had to throw that out there because it was horrible.
yeah, it wasn't that great.
I gave this match a B plus. Very good match. Very good way to start it off. Everybody knows who watches AEW. Adam Page can go. Everybody who watches, they know he can go. Brian Cage, for people who aren't familiar with him, they may look at him and just see a big buffed up meathead and think, okay, just like you said, 5 minutes, gassed up, got 2 moves, that's it. Oh no, Brian Cage, he's lighter on his feet than Riho is. I mean,
Oh
just,
man,
Is this going to be the theme of the podcast tonight?
I'm sorry,
just bashing Rio.
he's freaking heavy. He's so amazing for what he does as a big guy. He's so revolutionary as a big guy, what he's able to do in between the ropes. This was a great way to start the match. And as far as those 2 idiots showing up, obviously, I think if you've watched wrestling, you can see where this is headed. This could be the link to get Brian Cage face, to turn him, to separate him from Team Taz, which he needs to do. To grow, I think he needs to leave Team Taz.
Mm-hmm.
He does not need them. He just doesn't. The rest of them, without Team Taz, their careers are done. But he needs to be on his own, and this could be the link to get him separated. And he'll be a huge face, no doubt about it. And obviously a future AW star.
Mm-hmm.
Just an amazing match. B plus, no complaints. Could watch this match over and over again. An awesome way to start this pay-per-view, and it made me pumped up because I knew this pay-per-view could be this way, and they did it right. Very good start. B plus, strong B plus.
Yeah, well, before I get into my review of the match, you mentioned about the names. We had Hangman Page in this match versus Brian Cage. We also had Christian Cage on the card and Ethan Page on the card. So we had a lot of Page and Cage going on tonight.
Yeah.
But anyway, about the match,
I didn't even expect that.
Yeah,
I agree with Mike. I gave this a B plus as well. And I'm not always a fan of the bigger guys. I feel like the smaller guys are just capable of doing some of the high flying moves and then the more technical stuff that I like. But look, man, Brian Cage, for a guy his size, I was just really, really impressed by him. And obviously, like you said, we know Hangman Page can go. So I knew that part of the match would be solid. I didn't know if Brian Cage would be able to do his part, but he was. And I thought this made for a very entertaining match. And it didn't bother me when at first it bothered me when I saw Starks and other dude come down. I can't remember his name right now. But as you see how it played out, obviously, like Mike said, they're trying to make Cage a face, it looks like, break him away from Taz. I'm assuming they're doing that because they saw what we all saw tonight, that this guy is something special. And so they're going to get him as a face. They're going to get him in some big matches with some big names. And I'm all about it. So B plus for me. Great match.
In fact, I know who they could put him up against. Eventually get him again. He can maybe take the belt from Miro.
Oh, that'd be a good match.
I'd like to see him
Yeah.
go against Miro.
Yeah.
I think that'd be an
Yeah.
awesome. I think that'd be a pretty good match.
Yeah, that's the way to go. I think so many times we rush people to the heavyweight championship. We forget that there's stepping stones. You got to take that mid card championship and dominate with that first. Let the crowd fall in love with you or hate you, whichever one. And but either way, they'll feel like, well, he or she did their time. They put in the work, they put in the time and effort. Okay, now they deserve to be there. That's why I'm okay waiting on people like Big E, people like that to get to the championship because it just makes for better versus when you rush somebody, people just they turn on you because they know what you're doing. We're not stupid. you know. All right. The AEW Tag Team Championship. I really didn't think this would follow. I thought they would put this on later, didn't open the show, but here we are. And Rob and I talked about this earlier. We were concerned because we know what the Bucks can do. There's zero doubt when the Young Bucks, I don't care if they're heels or baby faces, it does not matter. Unlike WWE, they don't hold anybody back in AEW just because you turn heel or face. You still need to put on a 5-star match. It shouldn't matter. The problem, the worry wasn't even John Moxley. The worry was Eddie Stingston. I think that's everybody's concern was Eddie because it's like, okay, we've seen John go a few times. We ain't never seen Eddie do shit. Like I said earlier, it's like I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, you gotta check out this Eddie Kingston match."
Well,
no.
you just said it, so that's a first.
No. But they delivered. That this match was absolutely incredible. Obviously, the Bucks do a lot of the heavy lifting. Match started off with Kingston and Moxley jumping the Bucks. I'm sure Rob was happy because I know he hates the pose and he hates the streamers and everything, but that's the gimmick, man. So, but they fight on the outside, and the match gets started, and Moxley, did y'all catch Moxley doing the Sandman impression?
Yes. Yes.
Took the guy's beer and
yes.
yeah. I liked it. I liked it. It's whatever. We're not, he's not gonna operate any heavy machinery tonight or anything. But I will say Moxley might want to keep that shirt on because he's rocking the dad bod a little early. The baby ain't even here yet, man. Shit. But man, when the Bucks take over, when they get inside the ring, I mean that opening offensive sequence they did in the turnbuckle, it just shows like y'all in a whole other world now when it comes to Mox and Kingston. Doc Gallows later on the match tried to interfere and along with Carl Anderson, but Kingston takes out Gallows. Frankie Kazarian comes out of nowhere dressed in black. And then man, that spike power driver on the ramp they did on Moxley, I thought he was done after that. And even before that, I think it was Matt Jackson that sprayed him in the face with the aerosol can and then threw it at his forehead. Good Lord. I think he was really out of it. I think you really, fucked him up with that one. But question. In a tag team match, since when is it okay for the two people to team up on one past the 5 count? I just want to know because it was the whole match where the Young Bucks were just doing whatever the fuck they wanted to do.
The bosses.
Yeah, the ref let some things go. Definitely,
he let everything that the Bucks did go. He didn't say, but if it was Kingston and Moxley, he was all over them. But okay, and then I did like I don't know if y'all caught this. They mocked the Shield. Uh, they were
Why did
going.
you like it?
Oh, I liked it. I thought it was cool. When I caught it, I was like, oh shit. There was that. And okay, then we got the huge hot tag for Eddie Kingston. The crowd, for some reason, was behind Eddie Kingston. Super short lived because that man did a big boot and then realized how old his ass was. He grabbed his leg. He did that boot. He's like, oh shit. So
Eddie
I grabbed
Stingston.
his, grabbed his hamstring right away. Didn't he have a hamstring injury? Wasn't he out for that?
He was.
Yeah. And then the Bucks to start double teaming again and to hit that nasty 450 on Moxley. Um, but he kicks out. Kingston and Moxley hit a doomsday device with the Dior Jordans on Matt, but then Nick breaks up that count, and then we get the Fight Forever chant. A huge paradigm shift to Nick Jackson, but Matt breaks that up. And then we get yet again, they cheating again, just way past the 5 count with the BTE trigger knees to Moxley, and they finally pin him. If not for breaking traditional tag team rules, and these are the tag team aficionados, this will be an A plus. But because of that, and the ending was kind of meh, I gave it an A minus. So I enjoyed it. I had a ton of notes on this thing, as y'all can tell. A lot going on. But at the end of the day, this show is 3 for 3 as far as fantastic matches. So no complaints. Rob, what'd you think?
Okay, for me, this was just a straight A, solid A. Couldn't go A plus. Like you said, I did not like that ending. I didn't like the knees and all these guys had been through. When you and I did the prediction show, I said that I was really intrigued by this match. The Bucks being the great technicians they are, the best tag team in the world. I think we all agree on that. But then you have Moxley and I'll give him a break and call him by his real name, Kingston.
I called him Kingston a couple times, you know.
Okay, all right. They're more of like the street fighting type. And I'm like, will these styles mesh? Will it work? And man, it did. I loved when they just jumped right on him, because I hate that pose. I don't like the streamers. The tassels they weren't as long tonight. I don't like the tassels either. So I love that when they just went right at him. And all the way through the match, it just made for entertaining wrestling. And look, Kingston was the weak link, but I didn't think he really brought the match down. I think maybe Kingston held his own actually in this match. Obviously, he's the least talented of the 4, but he did enough to make this match, like I said, for me, a solid A. He didn't do anything to really bring it down. I enjoyed it all the way through until the ending. And the move was called a Dior's Day device. It was not a Doomsday device.
Yeah.
It was a Dior's Day device
Yeah.
tonight. So
Oh,
just to correct our host.
Yeah.
excuse me.
I'm not saying that's a good thing, but that is what how they referred to it tonight.
Okay. All right. I gave it a B. Um, here's the thing. I did hate the beginning of the match. I did hate that. I just did. Eddie Stingston. I'm not gonna call him Kingston, except for what I just said. He is shit. He's just shit. I can't. He's just shit in his Hawkeye wrestling gear. I just, it, I just can't tolerate him.
Go Hawks.
Blech. He's just terrible. He's an eyesore. The Young Bucks, obviously superstars, had to carry this match because of the less talented opponents they had to deal with. They've had to do this before. They're experts at it. I loved the mocking that the Bucks were doing of WWE superstars, because they did a few. They did the Randy Savage thing. That did make me laugh. They did the Ultimate Warrior. That was funny. And the coup de grace was the Shield. That was hysterical. Because the ironic
Yeah.
thing is there's John Moxley right there. That makes
Right.
it
Right. Right.
hysterical.
Like and
Only one.
Matt, you could tell had his troll face on. Like,
Oh yeah. That was hysterical. And there was another thing that was hysterical. The Bucks did an impersonation of the hot tag during the match. I'm amazed that I've never seen somebody else do that, because that's actually damn funny. It was they were impersonating the hot tag. That was funny. So the Bucks were definitely improved themselves as funny. That du jour devastation, just disgusting. And maybe that has something to do with my B, because I hated it so much. The ending could have been better too. That ending was a bit rough.
mhm.
So in the end, I could only give it a B. That's not on the Bucks. That's on Moxley and Kingston. So a B. But thankfully, the Bucks are still tag team champions. Thank goodness, because those two didn't deserve to dethrone them.
No, I agree. Okay. The Casino Battle Royale. Um, I'm always kind of 50-50 on these because I don't like the concept, and even tonight, I mean, they've been doing this 3 years now, and it still feels like they don't quite have it down. Um, the presentation, the match itself, the wrestlers do a fine job, but the presentation, it just seems like they still haven't fine tuned it to where it looks fluid, like a Royal Rumble, like just a straight up battle royal. I mean, just I think they're just trying to do too much with the suits and trying to dress it up like that. Uh, maybe it's having people come out individually. If you just had a suit and then all five guys ran out, it probably wouldn't be as distracting, but whatever. So the first suit, we had Christian Cage, Max Caster, Matt Seidel, Dustin Rhodes, and Book's favorite porn star Hobbs. Um,
What the hell? Why is he my
How'd
favorite?
you come up with that?
Why is he my favorite?
okay, his name is Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah.
Book on a previous show said he
Oh,
sounds like a porn star. So
oh,
I
I did
just
say that.
put the
Oh, I
two
must not have been on
together.
that show.
So that's
I
what.
don't
So
remember
this is
that.
my fault.
Okay.
So I just put
So
the two
it's my
together.
Oh shoot.
um, and that was the first suit. I think they were hearts. No, were they diamonds? I don't know. It doesn't fucking matter. The next suit was Matt Hardy, Isaiah Cassidy, 10 from the Dark Order, Preston Vance, and he was the first Joker we saw of the three. He had the Joker mask, and then Nick Camarado and Serpentico. The third suit was the Varsity Blondes, which included Brian Pillman Jr., Colt Cabana, Anthony Bowens, and Pentagon, also dressed up as Joker. So, which was really distracting because he looked like a fat Rey Mysterio. And wait,
Oh my god.
I actually think Penta is he was my pick. He was my pick. If you watch the video, I picked him.
Yeah.
But Penta normally wears all black. He does not normally dress up as anything. So this was a unique occasion, I guess. So he decided to branch out a little bit. I ain't hating. You know, like I said, he was my pick. And then the final suit which was the Spade. I do know that was Jungle Boy, Mark Quinn, Evil Uno, Aaron Solo, who replaced the Blade, and y'all gonna have to Rob. You're gonna have to excuse my expression, but Big Shotty Lee Johnson. If that don't sound like a nigga, I don't know what else.
Yeah, that's hard to argue.
ain't nothing else.
Yeah, because it's not Shorty Lee, it's Shotty.
Big Shotty Lee Johnson. Good God. It's like Tony Khan went deep in the hood trying to find the blackest name he could find.
Dude, I haven't recovered from Fat Ray. Throw that out.
Obviously, AEW needs to work on the names for some of their black wrestlers.
Oh,
Yeah.
now I'm crying.
Yeah, they do. But I was just as excited as you were, Rob, for the Joker. Leo Rush did not see that coming because this brother been working. I mean, he really been working on the independent circuit. He been working in New Japan, like they said, and you could tell in this match. I mean, I knew he was fast, but god damn, he was soup. And I figured he wouldn't win because obviously they haven't signed him yet. So, and you're not gonna put all your money on, the Joker usually isn't somebody signed. I mean, in the past they've done a female casino battle royale, and one of the Jokers was Mercedes Martinez. Look where she is. So it's not always just because you're the Joker doesn't mean you're gonna get signed with the company. Is the point? It came down to Christian Cage, Matt Hardy, and Jungle Boy as the final three. And normally I wouldn't say anything about this, but really it was just Matt Hardy that bothered me. I'm like, okay, I got all this young talent, and y'all got two people way past their prime and one up and comer. I just wish they would have put three young guys in there and really made me guess at who was about to win this, because it was kind of obvious. As much as Christian looks great, he wrestles great. The sequence he had at the end with Jungle Boy was fantastic. I don't have any problems with the actual action in the ring, but same thing with WWE. It's the same thing AEW is doing now. I just don't feel like you're sending the right message to the locker room when you're having the older talent that have been there, done that, already done this. You need to give your younger talent the reps. Otherwise, you can't. They're not going to be ready if they don't get put in the spot. Obviously, Jungle Boy is more experienced than most of the people in the locker room because he's been with AEW since the jump. And he was wrestling before that with, I believe, Ring of Honor. So I'm glad he won. It was the right choice. I thought that I don't know what to call it, but that move he did when he swung around the steel ring post and caught Christian Cage off guard, thought that was awesome. At the end of the day, I went B- just because it's just tough because you gotta wait on the countdown for the suits, and you got the lulls, and you got 90% of the field that you know is not gonna win and you don't care about. So I still wasn't bored. I still didn't hate it. I still thought it was okay. That's why I gave it a B-. And Jungle Boy won. I appreciated the respect that Christian paid him after the fact. It wasn't like the traditional, well, I'm just going to shake your hand. No, you the motherfucker now. So you need to go out there and you need to show why you just beat me. So I appreciated that. B-. Book.
I give it a C plus. For a lot of the reasons you kind of said. A lot of people that are in there, ain't gonna win. Um, had I done the prediction show, I probably would have said Christian Cage was gonna win. But I appreciate that they made Jungle Boy win it. And I told Rob he was the heartstring pick. He was the one that tugs on your heartstrings. I'm sure there was a lot of people who actually thought, okay, Christian Cage is probably going to win this. And they made a Jungle Boy. So I definitely understand your point, Eric, about how the locker room, you're not pushing the young talent. I get what you're saying in a lot of instances. That is so true. But the younger talent won it. They won it. The young talent won this. So I gave it a C plus. In fact, Rob had asked me, who would I rather see face Kenny? I told him between Christian Cage and Jungle Boy. I said Jungle Boy. I think that would be a better match overall, putting Kenny in there with Jungle Boy. Not to say that Christian Cage can't wrestle. He can go. He's a limited Christian Cage now. He is limited now, but he can still perform. But the quality of the match you would have with Christian would be completely different than the match you would get with Jungle Boy. And the Jungle Boy, that would be a much more better main event. Jungle Boy with Pac would be a great match. Jungle Boy facing Orange Cassidy, whichever direction that would have went, great match either way. So I'm glad Jungle Boy won it. He tugs on the heartstrings. Glad Christian said, "Hey, do it. You got your shot now. Fucking do it." So C plus. Glad Jungle Boy won. He deserves it.
Yep.
Yeah, I went C plus as well.
Wow, we're agreeing.
Well, hey.
I mean, I'm not that far off. B minus.
Yeah, we're all kind of in the same boat here. One thing AEW does, and I wish they would kind of get away from this, is they take an idea used in a previous company and try to put their own little spin on it. I don't really like the whole thing with the suits and the cards. I've seen 3 of these matches. I still don't understand the concept. Just put the guys in the ring, let them knock each other out. We know what a battle royal is. Don't try to fancy it up and make it something that's unique. You're just confusing me. But look, the work in the ring was okay by most of these guys. I predicted Christian Cage to win on our prediction show. He was one of the final 2, but in the end, I really believe the right guy. They made the right choice with Jungle Boy. So I'm not mad about that. It was nice to see Leo Rush come in. And one thing AEW does do right is when they have a surprise, they manage to keep it a surprise. I didn't hear any leaks about Leo Rush.
Nope.
I didn't read anything about him being in AEW. And man, that's one of the things missing from wrestling today is the element of surprise. That's one of the great things about wrestling that I came up with. And in the age of the internet, a lot of that is gone. But AEW manages to do it. There's something else that happened later on. I think we're going to talk about a big surprise that I didn't see coming either. But as far as this match goes, C plus, slightly above average. Battle Royal. Glad Jungle Boy won. It was a nice moment when Christian, gave him the pat on the back and, like you said, and said, "You're the man now." So it was a good match. C plus.
I gotta say, him showing up at Leo showing up. I forgot to mention it. He was impressed. He impressed me.
Yeah.
To take a phrase from JR, he's quicker than a hiccup. He is dang quick.
Yeah, he's real small, but dude is quick and talented. He just needs to keep his attitude straight, though.
I need to say this about JR before we go any further.
Okay, well, this isn't going to be good. I think we all know that.
Before I forget, is it just me, or did a couple times tonight it sound like JR had a fucking stroke? He was calling commentary.
That's how he sounds now. I've been making fun of JR.
I mean,
for a while.
he sounded like a couple times. I thought they need to check on him. Like,
he reminded me of Larry Merchant a couple of times.
His voice went out. His voice went out a couple of times. Then next thing I know, he's coughing. Like, I need to check on this man. He's old. I need to check on JR. Make sure he's right. It's like, okay, everybody knows what JR is famous for. He's famous for, blowing up a match after the fact and being able to expand on it after the match. Yeah, he tried to do that tonight and it didn't work. His lungs said, "No, bro, we done doing that shit."
Yeah, we all love JR, but no matter what field you're in, just comes a time when
And hang it up.
you've got to hang him up. You've got to walk away, bow out gracefully. And I think it's that time for JR. We all know he's one of the greatest to ever do it. It's just
It's not
his
working.
time is done. He should really bow out gracefully. I'm hoping he will do that soon.
I hate saying this because I hate this son of a bitch so much. It is bad when Shivani outdoes JR.
Well, I love
And
Shivani.
I hate Shivani. I know you do. I can't stand him.
I
So
love
when
him.
I have to say Shivani does better than JR, it pisses me off. But the sad thing is, it's the truth. It's
Uh,
just the truth.
but I love them both. That's the thing. It's like and they used to work together at WCW. Um,
And I didn't like him then.
I liked obviously the best. Well, for to me, because this is when I was watching, my favorite banter was always Bobby Heenan and Tony Giovanni, because Bobby Heenan's goal every night was to try to break Tony Giovanni, and 9 times out of 10 it worked. Rest in peace, Bobby Heenan. I mean, seriously, just
Yeah.
one of the greatest personalities ever.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for the DVD.
After that, they did a tribute to the troops because this is Memorial Day weekend. Um, Mostly this is for the fallen troops and me being a veteran. It's it's kind of one of those things. I'll only speak on my behalf, and I'll make this brief. I try not to think about my time in Afghanistan for the most part, just because of things I saw and people that we lost. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword because you want to celebrate the people that you knew that gave their lives and always remember them. But the problem is the memories are very dark and they're ugly, and you what people see on the news is after it's already been cleaned up and dolled up, and you don't see the ugly side. Well, when you're over there, you see the ugly side, and that's tough. So, but at the end of the day, I still say this, even though I'm back in the military, I still thank men and women that are fighting over there, that have fought, that have lost their lives for a cause most of them don't even know why. And to me, there's nothing more noble. So that's all I'll say on that.
Thank you, and we thank you for your service. I always think about my dad with those things because he was in Vietnam, and he does not talk about that stuff. But he's told me a couple of things that I won't ever say to anybody because I know how private he is about that stuff. But I, I thank him every day. I thank him for his service. I thank you for your service, and anybody, thank you very much for your service.
And of course, I have to quickly piggyback off of that. Thanking you for your service, thanking all of the ladies and gentlemen who have served this country. But on this day, where we especially pay tribute to those who made the ultimate sacrifice, I mean, sometimes thank you just doesn't seem like enough to say,
Mm-hmm.
but I just don't know what else to say. But just ultimate appreciation for all of those who serve, but especially those who unfortunately lost their lives doing so.
Right on, right on. Now,
Uh-oh. So this was it.
unfortunately, we went from a touching moment and a really good card
I, I figured.
to, to this shit. And I have been like the one person defending Cody Rhodes from the jump to Rob and trying to say, "Oh no, it's matches. You just gotta give him a chance, you know." Man, I don't know what it was. I tried, you know, and I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that okay, they had this personal rivalry, we watched the review of Blood and Guts, and we saw this feud build between him and Anthony Ogogo, and it's like, okay, we got a feud going. But then, like the last Dynamite, it became this thing between Great Britain and America. Wait a minute. That ain't the feud. This is Cody Rhodes versus Anthony Ogogo. An Olympic boxer versus, a collegiate wrestler and a son of a wrestler, son of a plumber, grandson of a plumber. That's the Rhodes daddy. The real American dream.
He's got the shirt.
And I tried every angle I could look at this match, and I was trying to like it. And you know what? Honestly, I don't think it was Cody this time. Honestly, I think Anthony Ogogo he looked very inexperienced in the ring. And there was one glaring part that told me, you don't know what the fuck you're doing right now. And you don't know where you at. You talking about boxing, you get hit, and you don't know where you at. Y'all recall the moment in the match. He knocked Cody off of the top turnbuckle. He's sitting on the top turnbuckle. Gets down to just walk out again and crawl back up on the turnbuckle and then do a frog splash.
At least the frog splash was good.
The frog splash was good, but dude, you already up there. Just do it. It didn't make any sense. And a lot of the stuff, I guess I could say the moves didn't look bad, but the match didn't flow. And it was just something missing. And I just felt like they were just riding that Memorial Day cocktail. And I just couldn't get into it. So I held back. I didn't go that far. I did give this a C- though, because I just didn't feel like it didn't work for me. The only thing that worked for me was the finish. And the one thing I know about AEW, when you have a match that at least one of us gives an A, there's highlights. There was only one highlight, and it was the finish. So that tells me that yes, that let me see, what was it called? The vertebraker.
Yeah.
That was it. That was the move. So C- it is for me. Rob, what did you think?
Man, I feel like my grades, I wish I could go first because I feel like I'm copying your grades and I went C- as well. I said it before, man. I don't know what it is about Cody. I was such a big fan of his father's. I loved Dusty when I was a kid. I got to meet Dusty. Just one of the biggest thrills of my life as far as meeting wrestlers. Cody just does not do it for me. And then when you have him wrestling another guy who is not very talented, I mean, you said there were some things missing in this match. It was talent. It was skills. Okay, that's what was missing.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
I mean,
shit.
And then Cody comes to the ring dressed like Uncle Sam. The only thing was missing was that damn hat. I just couldn't get into the whole feud. And the match just if I can't get invested in the feud, then how am I going to get invested in the match? I mean, if you're going to get me invested in the match, at least put on a good match. And they didn't do that. I didn't care. I wasn't interested. And the match was just boring to watch. Man, and Cody is one of the, he's one of the big guys in this company. Not just as far as wrestlers, but he's owner, and he keeps putting himself in these high profile matches, and they are almost always disappointing. And this was another case of that. Ogogo, look, he was a boxer. Why isn't he boxing? Why is he wrestling? I guess dude must not have been that great of a boxer.
I asked you that. Well, you don't know. I know that, but I asked because it didn't make sense to me. Like, why are you doing a weigh-in? Is this a special stipulation match that y'all gonna do a weigh-in and y'all stripping down to your draws like we do in UFC here?
Yeah, and I said I thought they did that just as a
Boxing
I
thing.
I just talked about how AEW tries to put a different spin on things done in WWE. WWE does contract signings, and it's a way to bring the wrestlers in, and they get into this quick fracas to help build up the match. I just thought that was their way of trying to do that. Instead of doing the contract signing, they did a weigh-in. That's just my own theory. But the match itself, garbage to me. C minus, lucky not to get a D or even lower than that.
Oof,
Almost.
oof.
Almost.
Well, I'll talk about who Rob called Uncle Sam. For any comic book fans, you'll appreciate this maybe. I thought he looked like Homelander
Mm.
from The Boys.
Yeah.
Because Homelander has the eagles right there on the
Yeah.
shoulder too.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I thought of. Like, oh, Homelander's in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This was a D. I gave it the D. This was bad. And unfortunately with Cody, if I was to average my grades I've given his matches, it'd probably be a D. He tends to be in some of the worst matches. He's a goof. And I hate calling him a goof because I do believe he is talented. I have seen how talented he really is. He had good years in WWE, even when he was underutilized. His reign with the Intercontinental title, good reign. He can go. I don't know what's happening with him in AEW, but he's involved in goofy matches. And Anthony, he's so much a rookie and so wrestles like a bad rookie. This was just an ugly stain on what was at this point already a pretty decent pay-per-view. And I was afraid that was going to happen, that Cody would play a role in that, because that's just what he always does. His matches are shit. And I hate saying that about him because I do know he's damn talented. It's a shame, but Homelander, sorry, it's a D.
Yeah, well, I don't think you should feel shame. Um, so I text the group. I said, "All right, it's time for me to start drinking." This is where I started drinking. I went 5 matches before I started drinking. This was the tipping point for me. Lance Archer versus Miro for the TNT Championship. Look, the Murder Hawk cannot exactly take flight as he once used to. Okay. That moonsault over the top rope looked like he clipped his knees on the on the turnbuckle. Number one.
It looked bad.
2. Have you ever seen anybody walk the top rope so gingerly?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. It
Yeah.
looked terrible.
Looked bad.
Undertaker in one of his final matches looked 10,000 times better than that. Okay. A lot of this match is actually, I'm not really blaming Miro for. I actually thought Miro looked, he has the physicality look. I thought that his selling was fine when he got put through the table on the outside. I thought the moves he did was fine. I think he had an awful dance partner. I'm not a Lance Archer fan. Okay. I was never a believer in this man. And so far, since he's been in AEW, I've not been given a reason to believe in Lance Archer. So I don't. And when I really, 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 really needed a shot was when, I'm sorry, I know he's your boy. I don't have any heartstrings for him. I'm sorry. But when Jake the fucking Snake came out there, I needed a shot because this looked like ass. Okay. He coming out there yet again, struggling with this snake bag that I don't understand why you need this snake bag to try to help out Lance Archer. Ain't no fucking snake in there, okay?
It used to be.
in 30 fucking years ago.
Yeah, there hasn't been one in
I know,
AEW.
but I don't know why they do it either. I don't know.
And I'm so glad Miro threw that bag because everybody knows ain't nothing in there. And I didn't need to, but I did need to see Jake, selling and doing all that. But it didn't help the match. I'm glad Miro did win because I just don't think Lance Archer is very good whatsoever. They need to give Miro proper opponents to build him up as a proper champion, or just take the belt off him altogether. This right here was a fucking F.
Wow.
Book, take it away.
Well, first off, props. I gotta say, happy birthday to Jake the Snake Roberts. Today is his birthday.
How old is Jake?
I think they said 60, 65.
No.
I can't remember what
He's
they
more
said.
than 10 years old.
I can't. I can't remember what they said.
66.
What did they say? 85?
I don't think
66.
he's 85.
Come on.
I don't think he's 85.
I think they said 66.
Oh, come
Yeah,
on.
see, told you.
He
It's
just
been
rough.
for Jake.
He
It's just
looks
been rough.
terrible.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's
He's only about 10 years older than I am.
He's been through a lot more.
Wow. Okay.
So I gotta say that to Jake. He's one of my all-time favorites. Got to meet the man. Got pictured with him. I don't care what you say
Yeah.
on that
birthday,
front.
Jake.
Love Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah, I got to meet him too. I love Jake.
So I will always be a Jake the Snake supporter, no matter what.
He's way older than that.
This was a fucking F. This was an F. This was shit. This was just bad. It was garbage. It was shit, and it's Lance Archer's fault. Lance, I've tried to like Lance, and most of it is just because Jake. I love Jake so much that I was trying to give Lance a chance. Lance is shit. He's just shit. I don't know why they continue to try to push steam behind that train. That train is just crashing into a hill. There's just nothing there. There's nothing there. He's just not that talented. He's done some big moves as a big guy that does impress me at times. But overall, he's just shit. And Miro, for once, he wasn't the weak point of this. This isn't Miro's fault that this is an F. He just had the shittiest dance partner they could have placed him with. And that's Lance Archer. I don't know what it is with them. Somebody's got a hard on big time for Lance Archer because I just don't think he deserves this spot. He's done nothing to deserve this spot. I like seeing Jake, but yeah, this was just shit. It was bad. It was garbage. This should have been on the buy-in. That it just should have been on the buy-in.
Yeah,
And
this
Well,
was the
nobody
match
would
I
have
was
bought in
talking
if they
about.
had put this on there.
This is what I was talking about earlier, the swap.
This should have been on the buy-in. This was just bad. And again, it's not Miro's fault. It is not his fault. He actually looked good, Miro, but he had a bad partner. And there's just no recovering from that. So this is a fucking F.
Well, I feel very fortunate tonight. I've spoken about my wife and I have a dog, Sonny. Right before this match, Sonny had to go to the bathroom. So Sonny is the hero of the day.
He didn't watch it.
Apparently, he knew what was going to happen. I didn't have to watch it, so I can't grade it. I will take both of your words for it. I won't go back and watch it. I have better things to do with my life.
Yeah, just don't.
But yeah, I can't grade it because I didn't see it. Thank you, Sonny.
Yeah, you didn't miss a thing.
Nope. It is exactly what we said. It's Lance Archer and it's old man Jake trying to do something. I don't know. Sorry, but he when you drag him out there, he's part of it. I can't unsee that shit. So, okay. We're going to move on.
Thank God.
To the AEW Women's Championship match. Now, this was a match I was really looking forward to because I think we all know Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, it has been on the rise for some time now. I thought I could steal the show. I really did. And I went in with with really high expectations. I won't
Keep it real.
say.
Keep it
I
real.
won't say.
Uh-oh.
Here's what I'll say. There was a lot of tempo issues with the match. It was up and then it was down, and it was up and then it was down, and then it was. Uh, then we got the near falls, and we got the the counts and all the crowd participation. The crowd was into it the entire time. Really, they were really behind Britt Baker chanting DMD. There was some Hikaru Shida chants as well. I don't I don't know. This was missing something too, but I can't put my finger on what it was. And maybe it just didn't flow like I thought it would. And maybe the chemistry wasn't what I thought it would be. But I still think this was a good match. It had good length, and I know these women were trying their hardest, especially Hikaru Shida. She was really trying her hardest. Britt Baker is a professional as well. Um, but that's the good. The bad is there was a spot on a turnbuckle, which I don't know what they were going for, but it did not work.
Mm-mm.
Two, when Hikaru Shida was going for those punches, she was getting all elbow,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't look good. I get it, she's blocking, but at some point you need to stop. So, those two things, the pacing was off. Um, but the ending saved the match. Those last few sequences in the near falls saved this match. And to me, the right person won. The only thing I would say about the finish was I wish Hikaru Shida would have held out longer before she tapped. But that's just, little stuff. At the end of the day, I still gave this a B minus. I still think it was better than the two matches that came before it because I was starting to get worried because then we were up here and we were coming down really fast like a roller coaster. And thankfully, we were slowly coming back up. This was, you're going back up the hill now. And I appreciate the crowd. I really, really appreciate this crowd tonight because after the match, they chanted "Thank you, Sheeta," and not a lot of crowds do that kind of thing. So I appreciated that. Again, B minus. Rob, what'd you think?
I gave it a C. And maybe my expectations for this match were a little high as well. It just didn't flow. Uh, you mentioned the sloppy moments. This match just didn't work. I think both of these women are capable of better. Maybe it was just a bad night. I can't really explain it. It happens. Um, but no, the right person won. It's who I predicted to win. But she just wasn't that impressive doing so. I'm hoping she'll be more impressive in her title defenses. But tonight was not a good night. And this is post match, and this didn't affect my grade. I just thought it was kind of weird. Shivani going up and giving Britt Baker a hug. I mean, she's supposed to be the heel, and yeah, she won a big match. But what are you going up hugging her for? What was that about?
It's weird. I'm glad you said that too because he presented Hikaru Shida with the new AEW Women's Championship, and he made sure he mentioned it during the match. But I also know, just because watching AEW, he has a thing for Britt Baker, and they made
Big
a
thing for her.
they even mentioned it. They trolling him a little bit. Jr. saying he has, you know, he's smitten. He's
Oh, so
smitten
maybe
with
it's a
Britt Baker.
storyline thing.
He's
I
very
I I
smitten.
don't think it's a storyline thing. I just think it's
There's something. There's a history. Something.
I think he was instrumental in bringing her to AEW. So now that she's finally the champion, he wanted to acknowledge her, which I have no problem with. But more so, AEW, they're just inconsistent with the storylines. If you have him crown or give Hikaru Shida the new belt, then why are you having him hug her opponent on the pay-per-view? It's just,
Yeah.
there's a problem there. But yeah, I 100% agree. Go ahead.
No, that was it. I said everything I needed to say. C grade, uh, disappointment for me. I was expecting better from this match.
All right. Obviously, again, the AEW women's division and me have had an interesting relationship. I have thought they're pretty much shit. And this is one of those matches that I was highly looking forward to as a standout women's match. Britt's done that. Hikaru Shida, we all know she can go. She has had the weight of the women's division on her shoulders for a year. She has had to carry a dead elephant because that division has been shit. And she has done it with grace, and she is a supreme talent. I don't know how they got lucky enough to get her, but they got lucky. This match was a D, and I'm disappointed. They just did not gel. They just didn't gel. You could see it instantly. They did not gel. It reminded me of a certain Bailey match we just recently watched at Backlash.
Oh yeah.
They did not gel.
Mm-mm.
Sometimes it doesn't matter how good you are. Sometimes, even if that other partner is damn good, for some reason, you cannot gel. They just didn't gel. This was ugly, and it shouldn't have been. They both can do a lot better than what they did out there. And the only reason that this match is not an F is because of the respect that I do have for both and that Britt Baker won. Had it not been for those two things, I'd have just said this is an F because I was so pissed off. The match to me was F, but out of respect to those two and that Britt won, I gave this a D. As far as Shivani hugging, I don't mind the hug. They just shouldn't have showed it. They just shouldn't have showed it. You can have that happen in front of the crowd. Keep that in-house right there in front of the crowd. They see it. We didn't need to see it. The home audience should not have seen that moment. So that was because they basically made it look like she was a face. So, and she's not. She's a total heel. I'm just so disappointed. I was befuddled by this match. I didn't grade this match until like after the next one because this match so confused me. I was just so disappointed. So disappointed in both of them.
Yeah, and a nitpicky thing. I'm not crazy about Baker's finisher. I mean, you put your fingers in my mouth, I'm just going to bite down. So,
Yeah. Another podcast for another day.
I'm finishing moves. There we go.
Yeah.
I think I already know you're number one.
All right. Well, after that, we got Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky versus Sting and Darby Allin. And we talked about it earlier. We knew what this was going to be. This was not going to be cinematic. This was going to be a straight up match. Real deal. First time Sting wrestled in 6 years. I was impressed. I grew up watching Sting. We did the WCW countdown on Books podcast. We both agree it's one of the very few things in wrestling we agree on. That Sting is by far the greatest talent to ever come out of WCW, hands down. And I was so mad, and I maybe this might be part of it. I'll admit why I don't like the Friday Night Idiot because
we were discussing this all night.
Because he kind of ruined Sting's comeback with the buckle bomb. And I just wanted Sting to just hang him by his toenails, but he wouldn't do it, because he's too nice of a guy. But whatever. Tonight showed me that Seth Rollins did not ruin Sting's career, and that's all I needed. This match started off fast and furious. I expected Darby Allin to do some wild shit, and of course he did. Right out the gate with the dive between the ropes. Um, and then Sting was right on top of Scorpio Sky at the beginning of the match. I thought it was great. And then, okay, after we all held our breath, Scorpio Sky went for that vertical suplex on the ramp. It was okay. He's good. He got right back up. Okay,
He jumped right back up.
okay. Well, if he can take that, we're good. All right. He got up from that. He did a splash off the top of the poker chips. We're good. Sting's fine. Obviously, whatever he's been to therapy, he's had surgery, whatever the case may be, is he's wrestling with zero caution. He's just going out here to put on a show. The crowd was 1,000% behind him, chanting, "You still got it." I loved it. I thought for 62 years old, he just turned 62 the other day. I mean, I hope I can move like he does. Look how he does at 62. That is impressive. I'm sorry to be doing the things he's doing. And also, real quick, Rob, how old was Ric Flair? He was like 61, wasn't he, when he retired?
Yeah.
WrestleMania 24?
Yeah, he didn't look nearly
No.
as good.
Well,
as
he didn't
Sting.
look as good as Sting, no.
No,
Yeah,
not nearly
nowhere
as good.
near
I love,
it.
No.
Hey, Ric Flair's my goat.
Everything was
Everybody knows
hanging.
it, but no, Sting looked. I'm going to have my say. We all are, but yes, Sting looked great tonight.
And I texted the group. I was like, WTF, because Paige had Darby Allin in the gorilla press and threw him over the top rope into the crowd, into his brother's lap. And I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? He tried to kill him. And it's Darby Allin has that Sasha Banks effect. He's so small that every little thing that happens to him, you're just like, well, he's dead. That's it. He's dead. There's no way. And he gets up, from everything. Sting, when he rolled up Paige with that cold red and like flawlessly, like he's not missing any beats. He doesn't look slow. He hit that fast. When he put the Scorpion Deathlock on, he wrapped through legs up like that. Like everything he did was quick. And even the end of the match, when he countered Scorpio Sky and hit the Scorpion Death Drop, it was all quick and no hesitation. This man is an absolute legend. I absolutely had a ball watching him wrestle. At 62 years old, it's amazing for him to see the things that he can do still. I did predict that Paige and Scorpio will win, but I just thought the heels would. But at the end of the day, I'm happy. And this is the first match that JR had his first stroke because he couldn't get the words out. But I gave this a B. I loved it. I thought it was very entertaining. And Sting shows why he is the icon still to this day. Not missing a damn step. Rob, what'd you think?
All right. Well, once again, I'm looking like a copycat. I gave it a B. Just a quick aside. Taker versus Sting should have happened at WrestleMania 32 if Triple H hadn't inserted himself into that match. That's the match we should have saw. Now, I enjoyed that match, but we should have saw Sting versus Taker at WrestleMania 32, the biggest matchup of all time. Now we'll probably never, ever get to see it. But tonight, look, I've always said this. I never was a big WCW guy, but you don't have to be a big WCW guy to know who Sting is and to know, they introduce him on AEW as the icon Sting, and he is every bit deserving of that introduction and of that moniker. And we had discussed previously, okay, how will Sting look tonight? It's been 6 years. The guy, I thought he was about 60, but you're saying he's 62. So to me, what he did tonight, that makes it even more impressive. I said that, Sting is a professional. I think he knows his limitations. I think he'll stay in his lane. And you know what? I was wrong on one of those points. I don't think look, he is a professional and he knew his limitations, but did he stay in his lane? I mean, Sting did things that I didn't think Sting would do or could do, but he pulled them off. The way the match played out, he would get proper rest when he needed to. He didn't have to do too much, but it wasn't like Darby carried the match at all. Sting was right in there, doing everything that you'd expect a tag team partner to do of any age. I was just thoroughly impressed, thoroughly entertained. I still only gave it a B, and that's not, look, a B is a good grade. But obviously, the whole point of this match, for me anyway, was how would Sting look? What would Sting do? Would he embarrass himself? Would he surprise us all? Well, what do you know? He surprised us all. It was great to see. It was great to hear that sellout crowd completely behind him. Mike and I were both sitting here behind Sting. You've said you were behind Sting. How can you not be behind Sting? Even though this was only a B grade match, probably my favorite moment of the night. Seeing Sting turn the clock back like that. How many times have we seen wrestlers try to do that and fail? But Sting pulled it off. I mean, it was incredible.
It happens more times than not now, where they try to come back and it doesn't even come close to what he did tonight.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at what he did when he came back, even in WWE, you couldn't even tell like the years that had gone by. I mean, he wrestled Triple H for 20 minutes. He wrestled Seth Rollins for 20 minutes. And the only reason why that didn't go well was because he was wrestling Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
All right. Let me just piggyback off what you said. Obviously, WCW, Sting, just the feelings that you and I definitely share as far as Sting goes. It's to the roof. The man is just friggin' awesome. I am honored that I've been able to watch that man wrestle live in an arena in different eras. I saw the old school blonde haired Sting. I saw the Crow Sting. It's been an honor to watch the man. Maybe my love is affecting my grade, but I gave it an A. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. And Rob and I were talking on the way, talking about Sting. He was a little more worried about Sting. I just wasn't. I said he's smart. He's smart. He's smart. And he proved it out there. Now the dive off, I was awesome seeing him do that dive off the chips. Obviously, if you've watched him, he's done that before. But that co-red that he did in that corner,
I've never
he's
seen
never
that.
done that.
I've never seen that.
He's
And it was
never
awesome.
done that.
It was awesome.
I mean, straight up, I've never seen that. I've seen him back in the day when he was with the Warrior.
Right.
He didn't do that, did he?
I thought I knew his repertoire. No.
He's never done that. At first, I was like, oh, God, what is he going to... And then he nailed it. I'm like, oh, well, thank you very much. No complaints on Sting. Sting is a smart man. He knows what he can do. He's not going to voyage terribly outside what he knows he can do. And we just didn't know he could do that. Yeah. So this was just awesome. A great showplace to show that Sting still got it. And hearing that, it's always nice when you hear that crowd chant to you still got it. You don't hear it that much. I'm trying to think of the last time I heard it. It might have been Ricky Steamboat.
That's what I was thinking. WrestleMania 25.
With Steamboat and Jericho, because Steamboat was just amazing.
Well, after Steamboat, there was The Rock, and he tagged with Cena, and he had a decent sequence with R-Truth, and they chanted "You Still Got It."
Yeah, that was just a gimme chant. He didn't need that chant.
But if you're really talking about somebody that deserved a "You Still Got It," it was Sting. I mean,
Sting deserved it. This was an amazing match. Great showpiece. This was such a heartstring moment for the night. And as you said earlier, the pay-per-view had kind of been kind of tanking and needed something to do it. And I thought it was going to be Sheeta and Baker, but it ended up being this. Thank goodness for Sting. Such a legend. I've I hope one day I can shake that man's hand.
yes.
Just amazing. Uh, Hopefully, if we all go to a certain event, maybe they'll have some kind of fan thing, and maybe we can, do
Well,
something.
maybe. All
But
Out this year is in Chicago. So September 6th, I believe.
I think it's 5th.
I'll
they
be
said
there.
fifth, yeah.
I will be there.
So
It's
this was
done.
This was just awesome, man. This was
Yeah.
so good to see.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sting and Darby.
I could talk Sting all night.
Oh yeah.
It was his tape, his WCW like biography tape was the very first wrestling tape I had ever purchased.
Back in Black.
Not that one. The
Oh, I know which one you're thinking.
Behind the Mask, I think it was called.
Yeah.
And that's when I first learned about the match he had with Ric Flair. And I went from that tape, and then I rented the actual Great American Bash tape and watched the actual match. And I would watch that match over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Because Sting talks about that match highly. Like, that's why I learned what a pop meant. Like, I learned so much from Sting just from watching his tapes. So, yes, I could talk about Sting all night, but we need to keep going because it's already late. After that, we got the AEW World Championship, Orange Cassidy versus Pac versus Kenny Omega. And I did some research, and I finally figured out why he's called Pac. Because when he was young, he had a six-pack before everybody else, so he's called Pac. And that's what I found. It's
Okay.
might be silly, but that's why it's called Pac. This was insane. It's one of those matches where, and y'all know I try my best to take notes when it's something like this going on, and I couldn't. I had to just sit back and I gave up. I just sat back and watched it because it was too much going on. Number one, and two, I was too thoroughly entertained with what I was seeing. And honestly, I thought Orange Cassidy was still this match, but I think Pac did. I think Pac was the workhorse in this match. And that damn Don Callis, man. I can't stand him. Like, as soon as, like, it was looking bad, right? It was looking really grim. There's a lot I'm not talking about. I strongly encourage everybody to go back and watch this match. But when it looked like Kenny Omega was in trouble, here he goes. Oh shit, because he was on commentary. He's shit. And I'm like, okay, he's gonna run down to the ring, and there he goes, and then there's a near fall, and then there he is pulling the ref out, and I'm like, ref, throw him out. Why is he still here? And the crowd saying, "Fuck you, Callis." I'm like, yes, throw him out. Get rid of him. Why is he still there? I'm getting pissed off. And here comes, we got to the point where Orange Cassidy, he's the one that hit the orange punch, and that's when Callis came down. And then Pac hit the brutalizer and locked it in, and then Pac wouldn't let go. Kenny is wailing on Pac, and he's like, I don't care. I'm not letting go. So what does Kenny do? Hits the ref. I'm not the ref out there if you're not gonna let go. And then the crowd, Kenny starts bringing in all the championship belts, and he just whacking everybody with him. And the crowd starts chanting bullshit, which I was too, because I was pissed. Because I'm like, oh, well, I know where this is going, and this is bullshit. This is not how the championship match is supposed to go, especially the way it was going. Um, the other thing that hurt this match, and it has nothing to do with the participants. This show is too fucking long. Okay? It started at 6. This match came on at 10:30, and we still got one more match to go. This is too long. Y'all need to fix this problem, okay? Because at this point, I'm doing my best to stay awake. Not because it's boring, but because I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning because my son decided, hey, I want to wake up at 5 o'clock today. So, but at the end of the day, I did enjoy this match. I gave it an A minus only because I didn't like this Kenny bringing the belts in and winning the way he did, and then it was kind of cheesy. The crucifix pin, man, fuck out of here with that shit. You know, again, the ending with these Kenny Omega matches. You've shown me you can do the work in the ring, and the match can be great. But your endings outside of the match in Impact, I thought that was clean. That was fine. Something about him in AEW finishes have not been great. The best finish he's had is when he wrestled John Moxley in the Lights Out match. That was the best finish of all the matches he's had, and that was 2 years ago. So, but I still gave it A minus. Book, you're the Kenny Omega guy. Just go ahead and preach and go on about him. You got the belt. Just go ahead.
Yes, finally, we get to talk about the best wrestler in the world, the championship collector, the champion of champions, Kenny, my God, Omega. This match, I don't care what you think about Don Callis. This is a no disqualification match, correct? No disqualification match,
hold on.
correct?
You want to go there with the guy sitting next
Is
to you?
it a no disqualification match?
Okay.
Then there you go. He did. Why kick him out? It's no disqualification. It's no disqualification.
He's not in the match.
There's no disqualification. He doesn't need to go. This match was high paced, entertaining. I gave this an A plus. I thoroughly love this match. And it's not just because Kenny won. I already graded it an A plus before the match ended. I already did. The fact that Kenny won just further solidified that this was an A plus. But I have no complaints on this match. I loved it. I don't care what smirk you have on your face. I thoroughly loved this match. It was thoroughly entertaining. It was just damn awesome. Pac, Orange Cassidy, superstars. And I would agree. I think Pac, if there was an MVP in this match, I would have given it to Pac. I think he just was lights out, just a superstar talent. Hopefully someday the strap is going to be on his waist because he's deserving of it. And so is Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy he's just ridiculous as a superstar. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Exciting match. And thank goodness I got to leave the night with my boys, walking away with all the gold. Thank you very much. And once again, and still champion, the champion of champions, the championship belt collector, the champion of AEW, Kenny, my God, Omega. A+, baby. By the way, did I mention he's still the champion?
Rob, can you start talking? Because
Yeah.
I'm
I'd
done
like to
listening
do
to
that.
that.
Look, it wasn't an A+ for me. It was an A though, because all three of these guys showed up and showed out. Pac being the star of the show. I think at one point he landed. I don't know if it was the 450 he did. He landed it on both guys. I think Cassidy was on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Omega was in the middle, and he landed on both of them. And then I think at one point he did a 630. I think it was Pac who landed that.
Yeah,
630. I've seen a 450. I don't know if I've ever seen a 630. That was just crazy. But this could have been an A+, and I don't have a problem with Don Callis coming in. I've said I that's one of my pet peeves. I hate these matches with any match with the stipulation that automatically means anything goes. And I don't think it should be that way. So Callis coming down didn't bother me. Kenny's a heel. That's a heel thing to do.
Callis didn't bother you?
No, it didn't bother me because I figured. Look, I predicted Kenny to win. He's a heel.
Well, yeah.
Very rarely, managers do that. Very rarely do you see heels win clean. What I didn't like about it is, okay, he grabs a belt, gives it to Kenny. Kenny hits Pac with the belt. I mean, I didn't need to see all of the belts being used as well. I thought that just got a little monotonous, a little ridiculous. Okay, but the outside interference. Look, Kenny didn't need it, but. But that's what heels do. He's a heel, and so those are things. And the response you're having to it, Big E, that's exactly the response they want you to have. That's what heels. That's what they're supposed to do.
Nope.
I can't go A+ because the ending with Callis and all the belts, that was too much. But and I know I'm almost done, so I'm gonna let you respond. But the match was an A because all three of these guys laid it out there.
All I'll say is, Rob, you're the one I always think about. If it's a triple threat, fatal 4-way, hardcore, street fight, whatever have you. As soon as somebody comes out, I'm like, well, Rob just made this F because somebody came out and messed with the match. Now you're telling me, well, he's a heel, so I guess it's okay.
Well,
it's managers.
I don't know that I've given all of those matches F's. I hate it. But look, we've talked about Roman.
That's what she's thinking.
Right. We've talked about Roman. And I hate it that they've had Jay come out and interfere in all of his matches. I understand it's a heel thing to do, but to me, it's different. With Roman, he needs to be a really strong heel. And I'm not saying Kenny doesn't. We all know Kenny's a great wrestler anyway.
They're different kind of heel.
Yeah. It's just different.
Different heels.
But was I surprised? Look, I think if Callis doesn't get involved, I give this an A+. It's an A+. This was a classic, but I did bring it down because Callis came out, and I also brought it down because look, throw in one belt and let him cheat with it, fine, but to do it with all of the belts, that just got a little.
It's no disqualification. How's it cheating?
Well, okay, that's a good point, but that is a good point because look, I don't think any match with the stipulation should be no disqualification. I just think it should be anything goes involving the participants. But when you have these matches with stipulations and they always have that out of no disqualification, this is the stuff you're going to see. I don't like it, but I can't fault these three guys, man. The work they did was awesome. So I brought the grade down a little bit, but it was so great, even bringing it down a little bit, it's still A quality.
It's not cheating. I'm not saying he was cheating. I am saying it's lame. Okay?
I agree to that.
You claim to be the best in the world, but
it's heel shit. What does AJ do with Omos out there? It's cheating, but it's the same thing. It's heel shit.
No. Omos, he ain't directing.
That doesn't bother me either. It's just heel shit.
He doesn't direct Omos. Omos does shit on his own. And two things. The second thing was almost half the time he be leaving AJ Styles laying in the fucking ring because his ass is like Jason Voorhees. If you poke him, he's gonna
Kenny
follow
didn't
you.
direct him.
Yeah, Kenny didn't direct
He didn't
Callis
direct
either.
him.
Callis left. He left commentary
He left on his own.
when he saw Kenny in distress. I mean,
I
look,
guess.
Eric. I'm
It's
Big
heel
E.
shit.
Excuse me, Big E. But I'm not crazy about it either. But all I'm saying is that I did bring the grade down. I just couldn't bring it down too much because
I guess I'm just mad because I was like, well, Kenny, the match is going well. Here we go, another Kenny match that I can put praise on. Then here comes Don, and I'm just like, oh well, so much for that. There we go. There it is. All right.
Still champion.
Stadium Stampede. Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle. If Inner Circle loses, they must disband forever. I did enjoy this match. However, I think the first one was more clever. Not to try to rhyme, but I just think the first one had a bit more of a meaning to it versus this one just felt like, well, we already did Blood and Guts. What else can we do? Oh, we can do a Stadium Stampede. Let's do that. And let's try to raise the stakes here a little bit. Now, as a veteran, as somebody that went through training and has repelled before, that was the worst looking repelling I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was awful.
It was awful.
Batman would be very disappointed to see these motherfuckers trying to swing back and forth.
Shawn Michaels would have been disappointed. Vince McMahon did that better.
Man, that was awful. And that I knew that was pre-taped because it went from them swinging around back and forth to all of a sudden them going straight down.
Okay.
And then they were just
pre-taped.
Yeah, it's fine. Whatever. That's just the pre-match. Just do better. MJF pulls up in the Chrysler 300 limo. I've been in one of those. They're nice. And then the rest of Pinnacle pulls up in the FTR truck. Y'all like this reference. Because when I'm watching this match and we go segment by segment by segment, I'm like, is this a wrestling match or is this Mortal Kombat?
Oh,
Because we're going stage after stage after stage. And when I really felt like it was Mortal Kombat was when Sammy Guevara found Shawn Spears surrounded by the steel chairs with the blue lighting. And he's just sitting there waiting for him. Like, okay. So this is just stages now. Now we're climbing up to this. I'm not even bashing him for this, really. I'm actually saying y'all might have done a better job doing Mortal Kombat than the movie did. Because this felt like a tournament almost. We had MJF squaring off with Jericho. We had Wardlow and Jake Hager. We had Sammy Guevara, Shawn Spears. We had the tag teams of Proud and Powerful versus FTR. That's the vibe I got. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I don't know. But I was just, after I saw Shawn Spears sitting there, I'm like, this feels like Mortal Kombat to me. That's what I'm getting. But I thought this match was good. I thought it was very entertaining. Jericho, when they were fighting through the arena and they get to Urban Meyer's office and he's throwing footballs at MJF. I just thought it was funny, and Urban Meyer's like, holy shit. Then you get Wardlow and Hager. I thought this was awesome. Wardlow and Hager going at it. Love this part. They're fighting and they're fighting the big ass walk-in deep freezer. Wardlow, he did a Hulk. He grabbed those water jugs and he was boxing Hager with. Oh, this is awesome. This is fantastic.
I'm so glad you said that. That's what I thought.
And then they fight inside the deep freezer, and then Hager chokeslams Wardlow on like the chicken tender boxes.
Chicken tender boxes.
You missed it.
I've worked at a place where I know what those boxes look like. Let's just leave it at that. Those are chicken tender boxes. Then so they did the brawl, and I thought that was just awesome. And then we get the chairman and the Spanish guy. That's when I was like, oh yeah, it's Mortal Kombat. That was awesome though. Guevara took that ladder to the face. I thought that was brutal. And then I don't know what to call this scene with Santana Ortiz, FTR, and Tully Blanchard. And then of course we got DJ Conan in the background, I had to look him up. He's 57 and he also looks terrible for his age. I mean, this is somebody that used to be jacked up. And if I told you that dude used to be ripped to the bone, you wouldn't believe me. Cash Wheeler was trying to kill Ortiz with them damn beer bottles. He was throwing them things. They were breaking on Ortiz, which I'm sure Book was happy about because he hates Ortiz, the fish flopper. Jericho stapling that thank you note to MJF's forehead and then ripped it off. He cracked MJF with the with Floyd in the head. The bat. The bat just happened to be in the cabinet. I don't know how they got off with him hitting MJF in the head with that bat, but that sounded real. And I play baseball. Them bats is legit. So the match pretty much comes to a head when we get Sammy and Shawn Spears. Now the tables have turned. Now Sammy's driving the golf cart instead of being hit by it, and he ends up hitting Shawn with it. And they end up fighting back in the arena side. And they fight to the ring. And they go back and forth with the chair shots. And, Shawn Spears being the chairman. That was a good sequence, too. But in the end, Sammy Guevara wins with a 630 senton to Spears. Because Sammy is freaking amazing. But, all that being said, I still don't feel like this one was the best match of the night, so I can't give it an A. I will go B+. I thought the Young Bucks and even the Young Bucks match with Moxley and Kingston was better. I even enjoyed Serena Deeb and Riho better than this match. So the highest I can go is B+. Because, I mean, let's face it, this was just stunt after stunt after stunt after stunt. Let's escalate it. Let's do more. Let's fight each other in the freezer. I thoroughly enjoyed Wardlow and Hager. That was Abomination and the Hulk. That's all that was. That was awesome. And then, Sammy Guevara, once again, to me, still the MVP, still in the show. Because, I mean, there was a point in the match where he ran up the wall, did a backflip. That's when I was really like, yeah, this is Mortal Kombat for real. Yeah, that's Joe Taslim. So, yeah, B+ for me. Rob, I know this was only half cinematic because part of the match was live. So,
Yeah.
I'm curious what he's going to say here.
Look, everybody knows I'm not crazy about these cinematic matches. The last Stampede match, I gave that a good grade. I actually enjoyed that one. I did not think this one was nearly as good. I gave it a C. By the time this match came on, I had been watching this show over 4 hours, and I felt like this thing was long. And then there were segments where it seemed like they broke it up. Like we would see two wrestlers go at it for a few minutes, and then maybe I was overthinking. I'm like, well, what are the other wrestlers doing right now? Just standing around waiting for the camera to show on them so they can start fighting too. It just seemed. The last one just seemed to flow better. This one just seemed there was just too much. Okay, these two guys going at it. for about 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, now these two guys, we're gonna focus on them, let them go at it for a couple of minutes. Eventually, look, it did make his way into the ring. And look, Sammy Guevara, once again, star of the show, great. Uh, but I was just ready for it to be over, after about 15 or 20 minutes of this. It was just okay. I still don't like the cinematic thing. Um, if you're there in attendance, I guess you're okay because you're watching it on the screen, but then the guys eventually do make their way into the arena. So you feel like there's some sort of payoff. I would not have had this in the show. To me, this just wasn't the way to end it. Gets a C from me. Just too long and just not all that exciting. I'm just more excited when I can see it with my own eyes in person. And when I know it's been pre-taped, I'm taking points away because there's room for error. If you do something wrong and it's really egregious, they can say, "Oh, cut, let's do that again." You can't do that when it's live. So I'm going to take points off of it when it's pre-taped because you have plenty of room for error. Any screw up you make can be corrected. When you're doing it live, you don't have that luxury. So, see.
Rob brought an interesting point when we were watching this match about whether this should have been the main event, and it shouldn't have been. And it reflects on the grade. The previous Stadium Stampede matches were far better. This just did not. Again, this kind of just didn't gel, and it seemed at times it got a little hokey. Especially Sean Spears sitting in that room, that was so hokey. It just was ridiculous. I get it. He's the chairman. You put him in an area where there's a lot of chairs. It makes sense, but it just didn't fit. They shouldn't have done that. Just if you're going to do that, you don't need to have the mood lighting. Fine, have him in there, standing there waiting, but you didn't have to go that far. I had to give this a C minus. This was rough. This was rough. I had it at a C, and the flow of the match ruined it. And I wish the Pinnacle would have won. I love the Pinnacle, but at moments this thing got goofy. The bat being conveniently in the case, just what the hell? And the moment that dragged this down, I'm sorry, I can't help it. I fucking hate Urban Meyer. I cannot stand that human being. I can't. I hate him with every fiber of my being. I see him, he makes me nauseous. Anything with him on the screen instantly is ruined. It dropped it down C minus. At least we didn't have any metal painted boxes. At least
C minus?
C minus. I just didn't like it. There was just this just wasn't good. This Stadium Stampede match just was not good. I will give a prop. The meat locker stuff, that was hysterical. In fact, as far as one-on-one competitors, those two did that could be a match just right there. Oh, just those two right there.
That needs to happen.
That right there is entertaining. And once again, Sammy, my God, he's amazing. He is so talented. In fact, I said it to Rob, somewhere down the line, I really hope we see an AEW title match between Sammy and Darby. That match would be so damn good. But this just was not a very good Stadium Stampede match. Maybe they've just run their fill with these. This maybe should be the last one. Obviously, we're going to see these two teams face each other again because they've split 2 matches. So we'll see them again. But I can only go C minus. This shouldn't have been the main event. It should have been the AEW title, which was match of the night. It shouldn't have been this.
I will agree that it didn't quite earn last match status. However, I still found it enjoyable. To me, my favorite sequence was Wardlow and Hager. I mean, they really went at it, and it was creative, the things they were doing. So I think that's what really helped. And if you've never been in a deep freezer, you don't really understand. It's freezing in there. It's not just a little cold. It's freezing in
Very
there.
cold.
Yeah. You won't last without a coat. You just won't. So I thought it was good. I did the poll today, and a lot of the matches people were split on, even just a little bit. But there was 100% for Inner Circle to win. 100%. Which, hey, I'm not mad about it. I don't think that well, really, the only person I think that wouldn't make it on their own is Jake Hager, because like I said earlier, he doesn't talk. And that's really the only problem. And even when he was in WWE, Zeb Coulter did the talking for him. So it's just you gotta talk eventually. I mean, even look at Brian Cage, that promo he cut on Friday Night Dynamite, that was pretty good. You know, you got to be able to talk a little bit, even just a little bit. Even Brock Lesnar can talk a little bit if you give him a chance. We hated him. We hated Brock Lesnar for taking that Money in the Bank briefcase for what he do with it. He turned it into a boombox. That shit was hilarious.
The Brock party.
Yeah, hey, it was creative and innovative. But when you just stoic the whole time, and I don't talk, I'm just a robot. I'm like, uh, what's his name? Ivan from Rocky. Yeah,
Ivan Drago.
yeah. If he dies, he dies. That's Jake Hager. That's his character. So overall, I am very happy as a wrestling fan to have watched this show tonight. I thought that they delivered, especially compared to the last two pay-per-views that did quite work. This one was leaps and bounds better. So I can honestly say I would strongly recommend, if you're a wrestling fan, to watch Double or Nothing 2021. Honestly, if you look at all three Double or Nothings, they've all been good. I think this one was better than last year's, but all the Double or Nothings have been at least good. I can't say that about their other shows, because All Out last year was ass, and the first Full Gear was questionable, and we all know what happened this last year, Revolution. So,
Yeah.
but Double or Nothing, like I said, they seem to put all their chips in on this
No
show.
pun intended.
No pun intended, but yeah. So, yeah, strongly recommend it. Overall, I give the show a B plus. I think there was enough A matches. Only one really match that could have been flipped to the buy-in, but outside of that, I found it enjoyable. And then I guess the other critique I would give, it's just too long. They're just too. I know you only do shows once every couple months, but learn from WWE's mistake. Either you make it, well, don't make it 2 nights, because honestly, I'm not really a fan of that either. But just make the show shorter. Just make it
Yeah.
shorter.
I'm in agreement. And look, this has been a long night and this has been a long podcast, but just briefly, do we want to talk about
one guy?
Mark Henry?
Yeah.
Okay, real quick. I asked y'all earlier this week, did y'all feel like there's some type of connection? Are AEW and WWE in cahoots? You can't tell me they're not now. I cannot be convinced otherwise. There's too much going on. There's too many people that swore up and down they would never work for anybody else, and now they are. I understand that there's money to be made, but my understanding also is that WWE is paying these legends to really do nothing but just stay WWE. So if you're getting a check to do nothing versus getting a check and to show up to work, there's something there. I don't care what anybody else says. You had Jericho on on your whole network talking AEW, saying AEW on the show, which is for as long as we've been watching WWE and Vince McMahon's programming, is forbidden. But yet he can bite on the forbidden tree and it's okay. Big Show, Christian, and Mark Henry in the last 3 months.
You're gonna see more of that. You're gonna see more of it.
Whatever. Y'all can say what y'all want. Y'all can have whatever opinion y'all want. Them motherfuckers working together.
All right. Well, look, we've been doing this long enough, but that's a whole nother show. It sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this. I had heard a rumor that there was going to be somebody. I thought it was going to be Samoa. I thought it was going to be Samoa Joe. That's just what I thought. It ended up being Mark. There is definitely going to be another one who shows up. That one I know of. I've heard of it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not ruining it. Let that one fly. I'm not going to ruin it. If it's true, I'll be shocked.
Also, we all know that WWE, when you're leaving and you're not resigning, what do? They bury your ass before you leave. Did they bury Dean Ambrose before he left? No. He got something that is unheard of. And he wasn't even that big of a star. He got a farewell tour. Okay? I was at the last Shield match. They don't do that They don't do that. That's not what WWE does. They bury your ass or they keep you in catering. They're not going to put you up here so you can make more money elsewhere.
I would just have to know what would be the purpose behind it. Maybe we'll find out, or maybe it's just there is no purpose. Maybe it's just
there's a purpose.
Okay.
If the next one is true, I will be stunned. That's all I'm going to say. It's a big name.
All I'm saying, you can't tell me otherwise at this point because it's too much so quickly. Call me conspiracy theorist if you want.
Back in the day when WCW was getting big, they were taking Hogan and Nash and Savage.
All those people was out of spite.
But it happens in the business. We see it all the time.
I don't think there's a cahoots.
They're in cahoots.
I don't think
because Mark Henry has expressed time and time again, no matter what happened with him and Vince, I will always work for Vince. Now you work Big Show too. Now y'all both in AEW.
They can say it. That doesn't
the
make
Christian
it true.
thing, they were getting paid though. That's my thing.
But how much?
It wasn't like Vince wasn't paying them. He was paying them just to be around.
But WWE has also cut a lot of people.
So that they can pay them.
I don't know.
Maybe
I'm not paying.
They still
I'm
want
not
to
paying.
They still want to do something.
Wait a minute. I'm not paying Peyton Royce and Billy Kay over Mark Henry and Big Show. Okay.
Okay, but
y'all can kick rocks.
Okay, but why wouldn't you do that though? I mean, what are Big Show and Henry bringing? What are Big Show and Mark Henry bringing to the product?
Ambassadors.
Right now? What?
You don't put them on TV. You make them ambassadors. You keep them in the locker room, and you keep them away from competition. If they were really, really competition, and then you had the competition on your network.
All right. Well, look, I think Jericho. Look, obviously, to me, that's a big exception. I don't think you'll see Moxley come back on Stone Cold.
Vince is not happy about that either. So
no, he said Vince didn't care. Vince said, "Oh yeah, that's fine."
But after Vince was not very happy.
Look, and it's Stone Cold. It's Stone Cold. The Broken Skull Sessions is probably outside of the pay-per-views the highest rated show on the network. You know, nobody's watching Camp WWE.
Look, how easy was it for Vince and Shane to buy WCW? It was no different than you walking in a store to buy a candy bar.
They're not buying AEW.
They're not buying
AEW. I'm not saying they bought.
WCW was a different boat. They were broke. They were dead. They were dead in the water.
You don't have to buy something you already own.
Okay, we'll leave it there. but that's an interesting conversation for another show.
Yeah.
Another debate episode.
All right, fellas. Well, and to our listeners and our viewers, we thank you all for listening, watching, because we are on YouTube now, and we appreciate you checking us out. Make sure that you go back, watch, and listen to our WrestleMania Backlash post show, our NXT Takeover War Games retrospective, and I believe we have strictly podcast wise, we have the gimmick match countdown, the worst gimmick matches. You can watch and listen to WrestleMania post show night 2. Trying to think. We did review this kind of a joint venture between Third Generation Wrestling and the Books Countdown podcast. We reviewed Mortal Kombat 2021 just as a unique project. We also have agreed to go back and review the older films. Seem like I'm pulling teeth all of a sudden, but we'll get it done. So that'll be that. That's actually next week's show is Mortal Kombat 1995. We will try to do Annihilation. Rob hasn't seen either one, so we'll see.
Spare him.
It's not as bad as Royal Rumble. I'll tell you that right now.
Please no.
But again, we thank you all. If you stayed up and watched AEW Double or Nothing, let us know what you think in the comments section. Send us an email at thirdgenwrestling@gmail.com. You can comment on our posts on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Listen to our shows on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and you can, like I said, you can watch our videos on YouTube. Also, check out MJ Books Podcast, the Countdown Podcast 2020. All of us have been special guests on there, and we look forward to being on there again. Also, well, I don't want to steal Rob's thunder, but go get vaccinated. Go ahead, Ambassador.
All right. Well, I got to change up my catchphrase a little bit because we're on YouTube now. So to all the listeners and viewers, we appreciate y'all. Let's hear from you.
Get vaccinated. So
well,
we can.
You already said that, but yeah, definitely do that.
Yeah.
Look, you saw how awesome it was tonight with a full crowd of people. The only way we get back to doing those things is got to get vaccinated, so the virus spreads. That we can crush the virus.
Exactly. Everybody on this podcast has been vaccinated, so
Getting shot 2 next weekend.
there you go. So AEW is coming to Chicago in September. Right now, we're projected to be there, and I can't wait. So take care, everybody out there. We appreciate you all, like Rob said, and we'll speak to y'all again next week when we review Mortal Kombat. Take care.